welcome to episode 18 of Level Up Your Inner Power, the podcast where we explore how you can shift your energy to level up your life. I'm Juliet Martine.
And I'm Danielle Flood. And today we're exploring a very simple but at times incredibly difficult problem most people struggle with. And that is how to let go of the emotional aftermath when you've had an argument with a friend, or you've had a run-in at work, or someone speaks rudely to you, or perhaps you feel anxious after speaking your truth to someone and they've reacted badly. How do you let go of the arguments, the disagreements, conflicts, tensions to get over not just the big stuff, but the little niggly things that upset you so you can feel good within yourself and not allow the ongoing issues to weigh you down?
This is a juicy topic.
It really is, Juliet. It really
Thank you for leading that one in, Danielle.
Oh, you're welcome.
Previously, we've been talking about how to keep your energy clear so we're not affected by other people's negative energies, but we were chatting about another aspect of this today, you and I, and it was something I really want to explore together. One that actually I think you're a master of, Danielle. I take my hat off to you.
Well, I do my best. I do my best in this. I do.
You do really well. And it's the issue of not so much of other people's energies as it is other people's stuff and our own stuff, in fairness, reacting to other people, all those times when there's tension, strain, difficulties, disagreements, conflicts, misunderstandings between you and another person or other people or, a friendship group or colleagues at work. And what we can do to stop ourselves from ruminating and going over and over the situation in our head and to not keep brooding over the unresolved issues, because that's the real issue here, isn't it? It's that the situation, the misunderstanding, the conflict, the issue itself is unresolved. And, when it's resolved, hey, heck, there's no issue, not a problem. It's all said and done.
Yeah, it's fine, totally fine.
We're all good, it's all completed and sorted, and we're able to move forward within ourselves and our life. But when the issue is lingering and it remains unresolved, either for yourself or the other person, or even for the situation itself, how do we let go and get on with our lives without allowing it to eat away at us on the inside and causing us to become really stuck and blocked in our own energy in ways that it can then start to accumulate more to it and create even more problems for us and weigh us down. Oh my God, you can hear my throat even getting blocked up with this one, just the tension of it.
I know, and because we all go through it, right? This is so common for all of us, which is why we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, because it really holds us back and ultimately it prevents us from being at ease within our own body and our life and standing in our full light and living our full potential. When we're holding on to things, we're not living our full potential, we're not showing up fully. And I have to admit, whoop, whoop, hands up in the air, being someone who is particularly sensitive to energy.
A little bit sensitive to energy. Just a wee bit sensitive to energy.
Tiny bit sensitive to energy. This is something I may or may not struggle with at times because for me as someone who is sensitive to energy and emotions and what's going on for other people, because that's my service in the world, if something feels unresolved, I can still feel the tension of that in the energy, and it still draws my attention because I'm a big peace advocate. I just want peace, inner and outer peace. I came into this lifetime, I just want peace in the world. But if there's not peace, then I'm feeling the tension, and I have to, find ways to be okay with that without necessarily allowing my attention to continuously be drawn to whatever it is that's unresolved.
Yeah.
Which I have to admit, it's easier for me to do that during the busy times when I can distract myself with other things. But during the times when, we're left alone with our own thoughts.
Oh, no, not our own thoughts. Oh, God.
Well, that's when the ruminating starts and the reacting and the circling round and round can start to take a hold. And, before we know it, we've been spending a whole ton of energy arguing with someone in our mind or getting hot and bothered about something that's going nowhere but eating us up on the inside and creating a whole lot of toxic energy within us. And that's the thing, it creates toxicity within us when we're holding on to these things. And I think you, Danielle Flood, I hereby knight you as a master at handling these types of situations. I learn a lot from you, but tell us, what is your secret?
Well, I am more than happy to share my secrets with you and everyone that is listening.
Excellent.
Yes, but, I have to be honest, I definitely am a lot better at handling these types of things now than what I used to. And it's been something that I have had to consciously work on, because the thing is, life is always going to hand us things we didn't ask for, right? Like that's just life. We might lose our job, or a relationship ends that we thought would last forever, or, a friendship blows up. There's family dramas. Oh, my God, family dramas happen all the time. Or someone tells us we've done something wrong at work. Like, shit happens, and sometimes it's big shit. And then there's also that little subtle shit that, that might look like that snide remark from a family member, or a neighbour rubs you up the wrong way, or you read something in the media that fires you up, or someone cuts you off in the traffic, or takes your parking spot, or pushes in front of you at the supermarket checkout. I mean, just naming these things triggers so much emotion in me, and it may be doing the same for you as you're listening. So it really begs the question of, how do you stop yourself from getting upset in ways that you keep holding on to it? Like replaying that situation over and over and over again in your mind for the rest of the day. Like, how do you stop yourself?
And I have to say, not just, going over and over it again for the rest of the day, but like the rest of the week, the month, the year, or even a lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard for us to stop ourselves in that track, because we so often we don't process it. We just hold onto it and we carry it with us. And sometimes it's because we don't want to, but I think the main reason why we don't is because we don't know how to process it, because we've never really been taught how to do it. And if we're being really honest, like most of us don't want to have to feel it, because that can be really uncomfortable and sometimes painful for us,
Yeah, very, very painful oftentimes. And the thing is, when we don't process our emotionally charged experiences, they unfortunately, well, it would be so nice if they did, but unfortunately they don't just disappear somewhere into outer space.
Yeah,
they don't just leave the earth. They stay with us. They stay in our energy field, and more specifically, they become stuck in our body, within our nervous system, within the cells, not just of our mind, but of our organs, and all of the flow of energy that happens in our body, and we carry it within our energy field. And that's what causes us to feel heavy and tired and triggered and reactive and to ruminate, because, we ourselves become toxic in our own unresolved energy of our thoughts and our emotions and our reactions. And sometimes we're carrying emotions that aren't even ours. It could be someone else's fear that we're carrying, or someone else's anger that they've projected onto us, or someone else's beliefs, or someone else's stories about us, or stories about them, or stories about life that we just take on and become affected by.
Yeah, and that's where things can get really messy, right? Because sometimes the pain is ours, and sometimes someone else has just poured their emotional backpack all over you, and they've walked away feeling so much happier and lighter and relieved, while we're just left sitting there feeling shocked, confused, like a whole bag of emotions has just been dumped on you, and you don't know what's theirs, what's yours, and you don't even know how the fuck to deal with it. So, like as you're listening, what's one situation, whether it be a big thing or a small thing, that you're still carrying that's been impacting your sense of inner joy or peace? Maybe it might be a conflict at work that's causing you to feel powerless, or you've had a run-in with a roommate or a friend that's left you feeling really unappreciated or misunderstood. Or there might be an ongoing family drama that triggers feelings of anger and guilt or shame. Or perhaps it's ongoing patterns of disrespect with your partner or children that brings up anger and resentment within your relationship.
That's a really good question. I just want to give people time to think of that. What's a situation for you? It doesn't matter how big or small that you're still carrying that's impacting your sense of inner joy or peace. Just asking yourself that question gives it room to breathe, because like you said, Danielle, so often we don't process it and we just keep rolling on over it. So just even asking ourselves that question is something that we don't even stop to do a lot of the time.
We don't. And we don't realize the impact that has on us because we don't stop to feel it. I've said it many times in our podcast. I say it to everyone that I work with that I am a big feeler now. I feel everything. And for many, many years, I avoided feeling anything and I numbed everything. And now the first thing I do when I feel off, and we all know it, when we feel off or something's not quite right, is I feel into it and I reflect on what's happened throughout the day, because there's been something that's happened during the day that has made me feel the way that I'm feeling, whether it be angry, frustrated, resentful, tired, depressed, anxious. Something's happened. And if I don't tap into it, then it just will take over. And, sometimes it's the really big shit that tends to stop us in our tracks and throws us into that survival mode, triggering our fight or flight, freeze or fawn response, right? But it's all the little shit that tends to build up and accumulate over time. And each time that happens, it makes every step more and more difficult and more exhausting the longer it goes on, right? But here's the thing, all of it, whether it's the bigger stuff or the little stuff, it all affects our nervous system, as you mentioned before, Juliet. It all diminishes our sense of inner peace and our sense of inner joy. And it has an impact on us, whether we realize it or not. That diminishes our inner light and it diminishes our ability to live our full potential. Because we might try to push past the pain and we might try to convince ourselves that it doesn't matter and it's not really all that significant. But in reality, if we don't process it, it's still affecting us and blocking us from living our best self. And I can tell you, I'll share what's happened in my life over a number of years is that I've been having to deal with one family member over years that has constantly projected his bullshit onto me. And I tried so often to push through the pain or pretend it wasn't affecting me, but it just showed up somewhere else. And you know how it showed up for me? It showed up in my chronic anxiety. And the more I avoided dealing with it or tried to keep the peace in the family, didn't want to rock the boat, the worse my anxiety got, until I got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. I finally hit a point where enough was enough. And then I began to speak my truth in order to move through it and eventually be able to let go of it. And, you know, even today I still have drama with this family member, but I'm able to process it because I know it's not my shit and I approach it with a different lens now because I've sort of worked out how I can move through it and let go, right?
As you say, a lot of the time we just push past our pain and we don't stop to notice it or give it the focus that it requires so that it doesn't build up and become toxic within us. And there's lots of different reasons we can find it difficult to let go of things. You know, sometimes it's to do with a person's attachment style. You know, when there's tension or disapproval in the air, it might cause us to feel insecure. for fear of rejection or abandonment, and it's difficult to let things go until the issues are resolved and we feel secure within the relationship again. Sometimes it's to do with the need to feel understood. When we're holding on to that tension, having a disagreement can leave us feeling like the other person doesn't understand us, or is misinterpreting what we're meaning, or is judging us in ways that don't feel fair or right in terms of the way we see ourselves and our actions and our intentions. And so it can become really difficult to let go of those things and feelings because we have this innate need to feel understood and seen and recognized for our intentions, not misunderstood. Sometimes our difficulty in letting go of things comes from the need to be right.
Oh, yes.
To be in control. Or, the flip side of that and the whole reason why we need to feel in control in the first place is to simply feel safe. Or sometimes it comes from our need to be respected or valued within the relationship. And so unless that's actually happening and being processed, then we can find it really difficult to let go of things and keep ruminating and mulling over things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes from the fact that we're caught in a recurring pattern with ourselves or the other person that needs to be addressed. And that was a great example that you gave, Danielle. So, the pattern keeps coming up and up and up, and each time our response to it becomes bigger and more difficult to let go because, our soul is kind of knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, there's a pattern here, you got to look at it.
Yeah.
And I will also say sometimes I find it really difficult to let go because someone has projected their stuff onto us and it just doesn't feel right. We're being blamed for something that we didn't say or think or do. And it's simply a projection of the other person's pain or hurts or insecurities, their humanness. And in our humanness, we react to it and find it really difficult to let go of it. And that's when things can particularly feel confusing, I find. I can get overwhelmed and frustrated because I keep going round and round trying to understand what's going on here, what's actually happening, because it just doesn't make sense in the context of what the initial run-in or tension was about, because it's actually old stuff for the other person being projected. And we all do that. That is part of being human. We project our unresolved stuff onto other people so that we can see it and work through it. But that requires a bit of willingness to self-reflect there. So to see ourselves in the mirror of other people. So we can find ourselves walking away from interactions, replaying what was said, starting to doubt or question ourselves. And it can leave us feeling really swept up in the other person's energy, their fears, their insecurities, their behaviors, and what's going on for them, which may have absolutely nothing to do with the current situational context. It may have absolutely nothing to do with you, but you're left holding the bundle of all of that energy. And so we're not only reacting to it, but sometimes it can be really difficult to let go of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can think of so many situations that we tend to hold on to and carry with us as unresolved energies. Like, man, all the unspoken words at work, at home, in social circumstances, the he said, she said, they did, they didn't. I mean, seeing the other person as being wrong or wanting to change the way things are playing out, which is not a problem in or of itself. It's the holding onto. It's holding onto all of it. That is the issue, right?
Yeah. And as with everything, it's not the situation itself that's the problem. It's what we do with it next that determines the effect it has on us. And that's what becomes the real issue over time. That's what compounds over time in not a good way. Mm-hmm. Be that over the next few hours or days or weeks or months or even years, as we said before. Often it's, the situation when someone comes to work with me for a healing session, it's usually at the point where, we've totally lost touch with the original incident or event that created the blockage of energy for us in the first place. Mm-hmm. All we know is that, something's not working properly for us now, and we don't know what it is or where it's come from, but it's because we haven't processed something in the past and haven't been able to let go of it in a way that it completely clears. So What I'd love to do today with you as you're listening is to really focus with you on how you can clear your energy in proactive ways so you don't keep holding on to things that can build up and cause even bigger problems down the track, and sleep problems, or I'm talking digestive issues, or, that chest infection that won't clear, or the sore throat that just keeps recurring. These can all be indicators that we're holding on to old hurts, old wounds, old unresolved energies that haven't been fully healed and are still sitting there trying to get our attention so they can come up, be released, and we can let go of them and no longer be holding on to them and getting upset in the process.
Yeah, I know I can feel things in my body, or when, I've got digestion issues or I've got throat issues. Like digestion for me and my whole gut thing, that means I'm holding on to emotions. I'm not letting it go. And then if I get really stuck in my throat, I know that I'm not speaking my truth. I mean, our body is constantly telling us what's going on, right? So it's...
And one of the things I love working with is sleep issues.
Oh, yes.
When someone says, I keep waking at, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I know straight away there's anger involved. Or, I keep waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock. I know it's to do with grief because the body is holding on to these emotions. And, there's certain times that our energy systems kick in around the 24-hour clock, the cycle. So digestion, sleep issues, they're just, they're the symptoms of your body that are like a big neon sign pointing to what the issue is that needs to be let go of.
So I guess the starting point for this all to start to change for you is to know whether or not you're still holding on to stuff that no longer is serving you and is needing to be addressed. So it's just about simply noticing how you're feeling. And is it still lingering? Can you feel the emotion in your body? And what is the emotion that you're feeling? Because this is the very first step, being aware of how you are still feeling about the situation, the conversation, the stuff that you know that is no longer serving you anymore. And if you are still feeling it in any way, there is something you are still holding on to that needs to be healed and released for you to realign with being your true self again. So if you know you're still carrying feelings and emotions, here are 4 steps you can take to stop holding on to things and free your energy to move forward more easily. How does that sound? We'll give you 4 steps. I'm pretty excited to share these steps, Juliet.
That sounds awesome.
So the first step, the starting point, is acceptance. In the moment, accept that we're all human. Accept that every person is different. Like no 2 people are exactly the same. Not even twins are exactly the same, right? And being human is messy. So let's accept that too. And really acknowledge your own humanness and the humanness of the other person. And accept that whatever is happening that is causing you to feel is happening for a reason for you to explore the energy of what's really going on. And by accepting the fact that we're all human and that being human means, by definition, differences and messiness, we stop resisting what's going on and allow ourselves to start working with the energy of it so we can shift and we transform it. Like accepting is a huge first step. And I found it quite difficult at first when I had to accept things that, I didn't want to, or I didn't want to accept things from other people, like in terms of that they're human and they've got their stuff going on. But I tell you, it is a priority step that we have to do first and foremost is accept.
Yeah. So, when we have a run-in or there's tension or any unresolved energy, if we can just accept the fact that we've had a run-in, because we have, and if we can just accept the fact that there's unresolved energy, because there is, and if we can just accept the fact that we're all messy as human beings and what we're feeling right now feels uncomfortable, just accept that it feels uncomfortable. It's such an important step because we stop resisting it and feeding it more energy. So we kind of break that energetic cycle that keeps us looping, that looping. So just by accepting it, I can't even say we put the brakes on it. We just stop the energy in its track and bring ourselves to that moment of pause into the present. Right now, this is what's going on, and accept that that's the reality. So very powerful first step.
Yes.
And then the second step is understanding. And this has been a real eye-opener for me of more recent years, is the desire to seek to understand what's happening more deeply, particularly with the other person when it comes to relationships. So rather than reacting and getting upset or frustrated or whatever emotion it is that we're feeling, for this second step, start to get curious to understand things more deeply and to start to lean into what's going on for yourself and the other person or people, and lean into asking questions rather than remaining stuck in your own stories and your own assumptions and reactions. Because, we all know what happens when we're in it, making assumptions. It makes an ass out of you and me. So, seek to explore, put on your curious hat and seek to explore what's going on by asking questions to better understand yourself and the other person. What's causing me to feel this way?
Yeah.
That's a great question to start with. What am I holding on to? Bringing the awareness to what it is I'm holding on to. Is it hurt? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it anger? What is this triggering or activating within me? And really lean into the feelings that we're feeling. Get your journal out. Write down what you're feeling and how those feelings make you feel as well. Like there's always a secondary feeling there. So maybe I'm feeling misunderstood and that makes me feel angry or hurt or sad. Maybe I'm feeling accused of something that I don't believe I said or did, and that makes me feel indignant or, really outraged. How could they think that of me? Or maybe I'm feeling blamed and that makes me feel anxious or fearful or scared. Write whatever it is that comes up for you, what you're feeling and how that makes you feel, write it all down. And then write down the stories that you're telling yourself. There's always backstories or side stories that come with it. The story, I didn't do anything wrong, or I should have said things differently, or, here we go again. He, she always does this. And oh my God, it's the same pattern repeating itself over and over again. That's a story I'm telling myself, right? So once we identify what we're feeling and what the story is that we're telling ourselves, then get really curious. What am I being set up here to see more clearly? If you're feeling upset, you're being set up by your soul to see something that you weren't previously seeing.
I love the play on the words too. I love it. Mm.
So what's the pattern here I need to see? Or a big one, and this is where I think you're a real master, Danielle, is, what's my stuff in this? Show me what's my stuff in this, and show me perhaps what belongs to the other person that isn't actually mine, even if they're saying it's mine.
That's the game changer for me. That's how I can really work through stuff pretty quickly, is I actually ask myself, what have I done to contribute to this situation or to this conversation or to this feeling? What has been my part that I've played in this, and what has been the other person's part? And when I identify whose part is what, I can then be able to then separate it and move through it. And sometimes I haven't played a part in any of it. So that makes it even easier for me to work through it because I know it's not my shit. It doesn't happen often, but it really is. Every time something comes up, whatever it is, big or small, it's like, what have I done that has contributed to this situation? Like, it's a real clear question I constantly ask myself when stuff happens. What have I done to contribute it? What has the other person done? What's in my control? What's out of my control? All the things that we've sort of spoken about over the last few episodes. It really does identify what's your shit and what's not your shit, and then you can then work through it.
And the key here is that seeking to understand and to be curious, because,
Totally.
we had a little bit of a challenging conversation last night where
We did.
I was not seeing the picture fully clearly and you were not seeing parts of my picture fully clearly. And we really needed to unpack it and understand things.
Yeah.
And you and I both, I think, did a pretty good job at maintaining that curiosity and staying open to understanding not just what's going on for us and what's our truth and our reality, but what's going on for the other person.
Yeah, and also coming from a place of compassion and curiosity. Like, you want to have those conversations when stuff comes up with love and compassion in your heart, or else it's just going to end into some sort of heated argument or even a worse situation that you don't want to be in. And I think if you can respectfully have a conversation, an honest conversation, which is what we did last night, where we were just sort of seeing things from different viewpoints and we were both feeling different things, but then we can talk through it because we were curious to understand a little bit more about why that's happening. You understand and then you can move through it, which is what we did, which was great. But you can apply that to every situation that comes up in your life.
And I might add, doing a podcast, if you're talking about these topics, they will happen in your life as you're talking about them every week. Whatever we're talking about, we're going through. So we're in it with you. Just want you to know that we are fully in it with you.
We absolutely are. We are practicing what we preach as we preach it.
Thank you, Spirit. And I would say, the first step that you mentioned, Danielle, in terms of acceptance is really important, accepting, that we're all human and we're all messy when we get together. Life is absolutely fine. I had this conversation a week ago with someone. Life is absolutely fine when we're on our own, but the problems only happen when we're interacting with other people. So, maintaining that acceptance helps us bring, as you say, Danielle, that love and compassion and openness to the seeking to understand things more clearly and to unpack things. And I think, the final question to ask is, with that curiosity is, what am I needing to heal within this? What am I needing for me to heal this? Do I need an apology? Do I need an agreed plan of action going forward, which is where we ended up last night in our conversation? Do I need to set clearer boundaries? That also kind of came into the equation now that I think about it. Do I need to say no? A simple no. Do I need to forgive myself? What do I need to heal this upset and tension and stress that I'm feeling at the moment? Do I need to forgive myself or the other person or the situation or even life itself? And as always, you're the big feeler, Danielle. I'm the one that is always reminding us, lean into your heart space, lean into your body, lean into your breath, and ask the questions of your body. Get out of your head and allow your heart, your body, your soul to provide the answers to you with more awareness, more understanding and insight as to what's going on for not just you, but for the other person as well. And that's what brings more healing to the situation, to allow things to start to resolve.
Yeah, absolutely. And depending on the nature of the relationship, be curious about the other person and really ask questions from a place of really wanting to better understand them. So together you can work through what's been activated for both of you, and you can then find a resolution and some outcomes to really help elevate you both. And the more curious you get to understand the situation, understand the other person, you can just work through things so much faster and really come out of those situations just feeling so much better about each other and about what's actually occurred. And you've learned and you've grown from it. But there are always those situations where you might not be able to do it, right? So like if I think about people that cut me off in the traffic or in the supermarket aisle, it's probably long gone and they're probably not open to having those types of conversations with me, especially because they're complete strangers anyway.
Supermarket rage. Watch out for Danielle. What supermarket do you shop in, Danielle? I'm just going to keep a wide berth.
I've actually had to remove myself from supermarkets. I do a lot of online shopping because I get so frustrated sometimes. Like, Or I'll get really overwhelmed by the amount of people. So I do a lot of online shopping. But I tell you, I do get a bit of road rage, I'm going to be honest. Like when people cut me off in traffic or they don't indicate, look, you've sparked something in me, Juliet, there. Let's just leave this conversation. But what I do in those situations, I always bring a level of compassion to that situation. And I always tell myself that person must have been in a rush because maybe they've had a family emergency or they've had a really difficult day or they're under an incredible amount of stress that's causing them to behave erratically. So I always try to approach those situations with compassion so then I can just let it go so it doesn't ruin my whole day, right? And then I also think about other times there might be a real power imbalance. Like if your boss at work does something that's really lingering with you, and you just can't let it go. But it would be inappropriate for you to have this deep dive into the situation with them. So there are situations where there is that power imbalance. However, as I say that, I think there's always a way of doing something about it. I mean, I know that I've had conversations when things have come up at work and I'll pull someone aside and just say something like, this morning in the meeting you said blah, blah, blah. And I'm just really curious to understand what that's about because from my position, it doesn't really feel that way for me. So I'm just really seeking a little bit more information for you to explain it to me more clearly so I can better understand how you're seeing it in that way. So even framing it that way, like I'm also really mindful of my tone and my body language. So it's a calm and open conversation. But I always feel that if you're coming from a place of curiosity and a place of seeking to understand what's going on and why something's come up, especially in a work sense, you can have a respectful and honest conversation to really understand how they're feeling because it's not how you're feeling, right?
Yeah, and there's always more to reveal itself, particularly
absolutely.
If we're reacting and we're still holding on to it and we can't let it go, then there's more there for us to understand, either about ourselves or the other person or the situation. There's details that we're not aware of. There's stuff going on for the other person, and it's in the unpacking of it that we get to, sit on the same side of the table. And we get to read the book together and be open on the same page and go, oh, okay, now things make more sense and I can have compassion for you and for myself and what can we do to, move forward from here.
And the other thing that I think is really important to talk about, Juliet, is that sometimes if it's really unsafe for you to explore these things with other people because you know that they might react in a violent or aggressive way that could cause you serious harm, then that's the time to explore for ourselves what the pattern is that's causing us to be in this unsafe situation and what it's trying to show us that we need to urgently do something about to change. And that can be really tough because when I was in a relationship that was toxic and aggressive and unsafe at times, it took me a long time to understand what it was trying to show me. And as much as it was about him projecting his shit onto me, it was so much more about me and how I felt about myself and my self-worth and the love I had for myself. So that understanding piece was really about understanding more about me and why I was in that unsafe situation for such a long time. And that can be a really tough thing, but, it's that whole process of accepting what it is and then really understanding why it is. You can apply it to every situation.
So those are the two steps. Then I would say the third step is once you've explored all there is for you to explore in a way that's safe for you, and you have that fuller understanding of what it is you're meant to see, which in itself resolves a lot of the energy that we can be holding on to. Like at that point, you'll feel a relaxing in your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the third step is what I refer to as let go and let God.
Yeah.
And this is not a religious principle here. Whatever your version of God is, spirit, higher power, I don't care whether it's, fairies or pixie dust, the creator, the divine, your soul, your higher self, whatever it is, that the easiest way to let go is, and to let go of the situation and your reaction to it, for me, is to let go of the need to control the situation.
Yeah.
Let me just repeat that again. The easiest way to let go of the energy that you're still holding on to is actually to let go of the need to control the situation. It will be whatever it needs to be for everyone to learn and grow. But when you let go of the need to control the situation, to control other people and allow them to learn through their own experiences, or you let go of the need to control what other people are thinking of you, realizing that, what other people think of us is none of our business.
Oh my God, I say that all the time. What other people think of me is none of my business. They're going to think that anyway, right?
Exactly. And let go of the need to be in control of anything. Because ultimately it's our resistance to what's happening or not happening that causes us to continue to be upset. So this letting go, sometimes, it's hard to just let go of the thing that we're upset about, but letting go of the need to control that thing or the other people, or the need to be in control of anything, it's a subtle difference. But what you're letting go of is not so much the situation, but the need to control it. And when we do that, we actually free ourselves to move forward more unconditionally. We liberate ourselves. I can't emphasize that enough. And on an energy level, we liberate ourselves from being a slave to whatever it is that we're trying to control, other people's stories, their beliefs, their projections that may or may not be true for us, And one of the powerful ways you can do to help yourself to let go of the need to control whatever it is ultimately you're trying to control without necessarily realizing it is actually to move your body. Get up and just shake your body, just for 10, 15 seconds, shake it all out, shake up, stretch your arms up to the ceiling and shake every part of your body. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Move your body that way through your breath. Have a really big stretch, even right now, just at any time you can stretch, and it opens up your heart energy and opens up your joints where we tend to hold a lot of that tension. Or move your body by going for a walk, or, however it is, just get your body moving to shift the old energy that you've been releasing, and as you let go of the need to control things. Even if you get up and put some music on and have a boogie in your lounge room. Okay, just get your body moving as a way to help you shake off the energy and let it go. And then where the God part comes in, let God. Let God by realigning your energy now with your higher self, with your spirit, your soul, God, the universe, whatever you think of it, the creator, that part of you that is connected with the whole of life and knows exactly what's needed for your highest good. Now's the time for you to connect with that part of you as you've let go of the need to control things, hand it over to spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, so rather than trying to control the other person or get something from them, their understanding, maybe their agreement, their apology, their changing behavior, now's the time to level up and actually take it higher, to reconnect with your true source of energy. Because a lot of the time when we're upset with the other person, we're actually trying to get energy from them. We don't realize it, but, we're wanting to get energy from them through their agreement, through their approval, through their acceptance, for being on the same page, for understanding things, for understanding us. And we're trying to get energy from them. And if you would let go of the need to even try to get that energy from them, and you level up to connect with source energy, asking God to take care of the problems for you, to hand it over to spirit to take care of the situation for you, to sort it out, that's when you really let go, by handing the situation over to that higher power.
Yeah.
And that's when you let go into trust. And that's the most powerful energy we can have, when we trust that whatever is needed to happen will happen because we've done our part. We've accepted, we've explored to understand things better, we've let go of the need to control things, and then we hand it over to our higher self.
Yeah.
That's when we fully let go. And that's when the magic starts to happen, because we're no longer holding on to the energy, and then we have fully released ourselves from being prisoner to it. And that's when the energy starts to flow more easily and more gracefully. And we have freed ourselves so we can step back into our joy, because, when you can trust that your soul has a plan for you and it knows exactly what's needed for you, for your highest good, and you can let go and hand over to that, nothing's stopping you.
Yeah, I love all of that, Juliet. I think let's highlight those 3 steps again for people that are listening right now. So the first step was to really accept the moment, accept that we're all human, just that acceptance piece being the first step. And then the second step is understanding, to really seek to understand what is happening more deeply. And then that third step, Juliet, absolutely, it's let go and let God and hand it over. Like, let it go and hand it over and trust that everything is all as it should be and happening for us. I think those 3 powerful steps will really help you to move through things more easily and smoothly. And the more that you do it, the more consistent you are about doing it on a daily basis, oh man, you are going to be absolutely unstoppable. And if this episode has landed for you, and let me tell you, if you want to hang out in a really good space next year, we are super excited to invite you to our first Level Up Night happening in February in Melbourne, and would love for you to be part of the energy and join us. So visit the Luyip website at www.luyip.com to register for our Level Up Nights to help you shift and transform your energy with other like-hearted people, because when we do this work together, it absolutely amplifies the energy and the power for everyone. And remember, there's so much more to you that you're yet to discover. Your power isn't out there. Everything you need to live your full potential is already inside you. And when you access it, that's when anything and everything becomes possible. Until next time, bye for now.